At the start of the show, I started off by saying greetings, nerds and virgins, because obviously that is Colby Covington's infamous intro to his universally beloved Instagram videos. Uh, Colby came out with another one this week, and this might be his magnum opus, magnum opus. I forget the correct terminology.
Magnum
Opus.
opus.
This might be his masterpiece, where he called out and responded to Ian Garry calling for a fight against Colby Covington. And this one is a fucking doozy, bro. It was I know that you've watched it. Boy, he really laid it all out and had some choice words for Ian's wife, Layla and Lee, and laid out three stipulations for Ian Garry in order to actually get this fight set up where he would fight Colby Covington. So take a look.
Let me teach you the art of the deal, Ian. Let's come to a compromise. If you can meet these three stipulations, we got to fight. Stipulation number one, you and that gold digging whore got to turn your Instagram comments back on. And if you turn them off before the fight, you forfeit the fight. If you turn them off during fight week or after I beat your ass, you forfeit your purse. Stipulation number two, Ian, we've heard you cry and beg on your knees, but we all know that you're not the boss and you don't wear the pants in the relationship. Layla, you got 60 seconds to convince me and the people why this fight needs to happen. So put your husband in the corner, get on your hands and knees, and beg. Now for stipulation number three, my personal favorite. As you all might have noticed, something's been missing from my MyBookie promos lately. That's because I've been saving that spot for a special someone. Layla, you want to be a star? You want the spotlight? I got it for you, sweetie. You want your 15 seconds of fame, Layla? I'll give you your 15 seconds of fame right here for America's Pick of the Week. After I beat your husband, because that's a foregone conclusion, I will beat him. He's going to sit in the corner just like he does with all that cuck stuff you guys do, and he's going to watch while you get your 15 seconds of fame. Ball's in your court now, cuck boy. I'll have my lawyers draft up the papers. You got 24 hours to respond. We'll see if you're about that life.
So, Timmy, we've got three stipulations laid out by Colby Covington himself. One is that you have to disable comments on your Instagram, or so you have to enable comments on your Instagram. And if you disable them at any point during fight week, the fight is off. You have forfeited the fight. It will count as a loss on your record. Number two is that Layla herself has to explain why the fight has to happen. And he literally wants Layla to get on her hands and knees and beg him for the fight to happen. Take, the imagery aside, this is already, he's stepping into territory, very disrespectful territory towards Ian's wife. Number three might be my favorite part, just in terms of comedy purposes, but Colby's known for having ladies on his arm. And many fans have pointed out how they've been missing from his recent Instagram videos, how there haven't been the OnlyFans models that Colby pays to be in his promos on Instagram. Well, if Colby wins the fight, Layla and Lee, Ian Garry's wife, will have to be arm candy for Colby Covington for his Real MyBookie promo video. Timmy, I mean, what do you even have to say about this? What is there to say?
Listen, I said after Colby lost to Leon that his shtick wasn't going to work. If it was only going to work if he was actually winning fights, or if the fights were competitive, like his fights with Kamaru Usman. But this was vintage Colby. His shtick doesn't usually make me laugh. This was funny. He was on point. He's stoking the flames. I mean, really disrespectful stuff. Not surprising for Colby Covington, but I feel like this fight has to happen now.
Yeah.
And I don't know about stipulations 2 and 3. I think that's a little bit far, but stipulation 1, absolutely right. Ian Garry absolutely should re-enable the comments. I think he's doing himself a disservice by keeping them disabled like that. I think I don't want to call it weakness. God, that's not the right word to use. But I couldn't imagine another guy trying to come up, build up their fame and stuff, being so averse to having so many haters. Like Conor McGregor, people hate that guy. Half or more than half of the comments on every one of his posts are hating on him.
Yeah.
And you know what? He doesn't give a fuck. I think stipulation 1 should happen regardless of if the fight happens. And I really want to see this fight now. So it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. And about stipulation 1, I have a couple of thoughts on that. Number 1 is that it actually, as somebody that works on the internet, I would advise Ian Garry to turn the back on, because even though it's bad engagement, it's negative engagement, the more engagement you get, the better it is for your social media growth.
Yep.
So you're actually going to grow more. And it's like that classic Howard Stern line. I don't know if you ever saw Howard Stern's Private Parts, the movie about Howard Stern's rise to fame, but they talk about the people that listened to Howard Stern. 50% of them loved him and they wanted to hear what he had to say next. The other 50% of them hated him, but they wanted to hear what he had to say next. So it's, you get you get the positive comments. It's going to help you in the end, whether or not people hate you or love you. The fact that people want to see you get knocked out or ride on you is just as good for your growth and your pocketbook as it is when you get support from people.
Exactly.
As nasty as it is, it's really good for your growth. It's great for your, it's great. It's just great for you in the long term, I guess is what I'm gonna say. And finally, you said that you're excited to see this fight. I think that Ian Garry should absolutely jump on, just call Dana White right now and tell him, I want to make this fight happen, because there's one thing that will get you back in the good graces of fans, even though Colby has a lot of supporters. But if Ian Garry can knock Colby Covington out, he will. A lot of people will have a short memory and they'll forget about a lot of the stuff with his wife. He'll enter a new stratosphere if you can knock Colby Covington out. I think you'd agree with that.
If Ian Garry keeps winning, there's going to be a point in time where the fans completely flip and they're like, it's going to go from being very fashionable to, calling him a cuck and making fun of his wife and all these things. Then it's going to become fashionable to hate on people for doing that. Oh, you're just a hater. Oh, like these things change very quickly. I've been following MMA fans for a long time. I am an MMA fan my entire life. So I know how these things work. People flip on a dime. And if Ian Garry can keep winning, that will happen. So Ian Garry, take this fight, make sure this fight happens. And if you knock him out, as Jesse said, boom. And let the record show that Jesse is a big fan of Howard Stern's Private Parts.
I am big fan of Howard Stern's Private Parts. But no, seriously, I mean, we're going to move on here, but I think that this is actually, and Ian Garry is very smart to call out Colby, by the way, because I think he recognized that was his out. He could have called out Shavkat like JDM, but I think knocking out Ian Garry is that's the way to go for Ian. Sorry, knocking out Colby Covington. That's the way to go for Ian Garry to reinvigorate the upward trajectory that he had before Sean Strickland made those videos about his wife.
Let me tell you something about Andrew. This is my boy right here. You disrespect him, you're disrespecting me.
Inside fighting, Sean's inside fighting.